So I'm going to do a 2-for-1 today, which means that in theory, although I don't think I've quite figured it out how I've done it previously, in theory the waste from one should go to making a second card, but we'll see how we get on. But either way, there'll be 2 videos that both match, 2 cards that both sort of match as a pair. So I am going to use my Narky Sentiments from the Dani Doodles range, and I'll be using the Thanks So Much, just looking for the title, Giant Thanks So Much from Lawnthorn. With that in mind, I will be using the Thanks for Putting Up With My Beep. I think I've used this one before, but I'll be snipping away the thanks and then just using the remainder of the sentiment along with the giant word die. So we'll be doing a rainbow background using Distress Oxides. We'll be doing that twice. So I've got Wilted Violet, Salty Ocean, Fossilized Amber, Mowed Lawn and Festive Berries, and we'll just be doing a nice rainbow blend on 2 pieces of card, which is great. That kind of background is great for any occasion. If you just switch the sentiments up, it will work for pretty much any occasion. So I've prepared some card. I'm just going to use my white card bases, pop the mats to the side. So I've got one which is smaller than the other, and you'll see why in a moment, but we'll blend them in both exactly the same way. So the first colour I'll go in with is the Wilted Violet. It's really important as well. In fact, this is not a great card. I think this is the crappy card that I'm trying to use up that claims to be super smooth, but isn't. Or certainly isn't on one side anyway. The other side is debatable. Right, so I'm going to go in with the Wilted Violet. Because we're working in, we've got 5 colours that I intend on working with. So we're going to aim to break the card up into fifths with each colour. So let me just actually lay down some... Let's lay this down so that we're not creating too much mess for later on. This is only temporary, so in the meantime, please do excuse the mess. But as soon as I've done the blending, I'll pack it away again. Right, so in with the Wilted Violet, the same principle on both of these pieces of card, and we're just going to blend that. Lovely, I've got a doggy hair already. My dog goes everywhere with me, honestly. Right, we're just going to blend that into the top, roughly the top fifth of the card. By the time you blend the other colours in, you'll create some other colours at the same time. Okay, and then pop that aside, and I'll next go in. I'll try and work with similar colours next to one another, but that my app has disconnected. This will, if you join me late, apologies. Technology interrupted us this evening, but I'm going to carry on and then put it up on YouTube, so you can all catch up on YouTube. I may as well carry on as I meant to. Right, so we've done the Wilted Violet. The next colour I'm going to go in with is the Salty Ocean. I'm just going to blend this in the next part, overlapping the purple as well. That one went on really nice. I need a piece of card because I will end up with, or a piece of paper, sticky note is perfect because I will end up with fingerprints. I suspect that it's going to take people a very long time to find me again. Right, then once you've done your second colour, you go back in with your first. And just go over the line where they join with the first colour. And that should give it a nice smooth blend. Lovely. I really like just those colours actually. Okay. And then same again here. Go back in with the first colour. I'm going to put the lid back on that because I know I'm going to end up dipping back into the wrong colour. Going back over as many times as needed just to make that blend as seamless as possible. I think what I might do is go back in with the blue for this one because I don't think the card is all that it's cracked up to be honest. There we go. That blend is much better now. Right, so definitely finished with that for now, so we're going to pop that away. Then we're going to go in with the third colour. So I think for this one I'm going to use green. Do I want green? Just deciding on what colour to go for next. I think I'm going to go with yellow actually. Right, okay, yellow. Let's go with yellow. Let's just do it. It doesn't really matter. It creates its own colours anyway once they're blended. So we'll keep the blue aside because we'll come back to the blue. And we'll just where the two colours meet and blend, it's not going to be as visible as we see it now anyway. We'll be cutting into it, cutting away from it, so it's really no loss if the blend isn't as perfect as we'd like. So I'm going to go back in with the blue, very lightly moving the blue onto the yellow, and then go back in with the yellow. Just moving that up ever so slightly as well. Again, bring that back down. So we've got several colours going on, several more than what we have actually put down where the colours have blended together. So we need to go back in now with this one and do the yellow over here. I think I lost everyone when technology played up. If anyone did find me again, please do give me a shout. Otherwise, I'll assume you all got lost in the oblivion. Let's go back in with the blue. Very lightly bringing the blue into the yellow. And we've got that lovely green there. Okay. And then I finished with the blue for sure. And then I think the natural progression, do you know, actually the natural progression here is to go with green, but my last colour is red, which isn't going to go with either of those, but we'll go for it. So let's pop that aside. Let's go with the green. So this is Mowed Lawn. The blue was Salty Ocean. I didn't mention that, but Salty Ocean. So we're going to end up with 2 lots of green here, aren't we? Because we've blended one. So that didn't take much. Hi Heidi. We've had terrible technology issues again, Heidi, and all the people that were here have disappeared. They've been lost. They've got lost into the oblivion. I don't think they've managed to find me again. Oh, thanks, Mum. The blend isn't great. I think it's the shoddy card that I'm using, to be honest. But as I say, it's no biggie because we're not going to see where it's blended together anyway. Still going to have a really beautiful effect ultimately. So right, so certainly finished with the yellow now. That's all right, Heidi, not to worry. Not to worry. Right, and lastly, the Festive Berries, the red. I love this colour. Again, it's not going to work with the green. But it's all good. We'll see what colour it does create. Go back in with the green. Just blend those together. It's quite a muddy colour. I'm not going to do much more with that one, so we're going to pop that one aside. Much of that is going to be covered. All we're going to see of that one is the outside edge. So we've done that one. Go back in with the red for this one. We've not got much more room here for the red. They don't have to be exact. The you know, the space allocations, they don't have to be perfect. That middle bit, I'm not keen on that. Just going to give that a wipe off because it's picked up some of the red there, but that was inevitable. Right, let's get rid of those now, and we can tidy up this workspace a little bit. There we go. Right, pop those out the way. Let's get rid of that. I think you may have just seen my head in shot there, sorry. Right, so now we've got 2 blended pieces of card, smaller and the larger piece. So we're going to cut into this one and we're going to stick onto that one. So for that, I'm going to need my die cutting machine, which I haven't actually prepared. Just creating a bit of space. Obviously the noise is not very kind to listeners, so bear with me, but it should be once or twice, can't quite remember. It shouldn't be much more than that you have to put up with the noise of the die cut machine. So I'm going to be using the giant Thanks So Much from Lawn Fawn. So we're going to pop that into here. You've got to be so careful when you've just blended with ink. The card is still, it may not feel it, but there's still some moisture in the card. When you stick the dies down to put them through the machine, it can tear the card. So we do risk that here, but just for the sake of this. Otherwise, let it dry thoroughly, but for the sake of this, I'm just going to run it through as it is. State of my plate. I don't know if you can see the warp on there. It's terrible. I used to have a Gemini many years ago, and the plates were fantastic in terms of they didn't warp whatsoever. And then I sold everything and got a new Gemini, and the plates are, the quality is shocking. Obviously we can't afford to keep replacing them, can we? So I found a company that does, sounds really bizarre, but motorbike accessories. And they do the plates for about £6, but even those warp, so I'm still regularly having to replace them. Right, so I've put my card onto the bend of the plate, because that's where the pressure is going to be maximised when it goes through the machine, and at an angle as well, so that it goes through the machine much easier. So I'm just running that through now. Sorry about the noise. Well, that last bit there, that noise didn't sound too healthy, did it? No, it's awful, Heidi. Years ago, the plates were amazing. And then they changed it, and now the plates are far from amazing. I know there's tips and tricks where people put them in the oven or run them under hot water and the likes, but I don't think it's ever permanent. I think really they need to get their backsides into gear and fix this problem long term, don't they? But it's the only machine I can use, because I can't use the gears on the manual machines with ease. Right, so we've now got, we need to save these bits that come out from the centre of the letters. Now, with any luck, this should pop out quite nicely. The card wasn't too thick. It's looking good, but I just don't want to force anything. Right, so I don't know which parts of these little bits that I'm pushing away here, I don't know which ones I'm going to need at this point, so I'm going to save them all and then pick up what I need later on. So take the A out, and then there's some bits between the letters. Set, and then just check that everything's out. Yeah, so that's what we've got from that, and then that's the negative space. Positive, negative. So what I might do actually is, so that I don't lose any of these, I'm going to pop them in my little pot. I normally use this for my small scraps. I'm going to pop them in there and pop them aside for a moment. I may well use them straight away, but I've just got to remember what I'm doing here. So we can pop that onto the smaller panel, and then that will go onto our rainbow blended panel, and then that will in turn become a card in its own right. So that's that one, and then it's deciding now what to do here. So I think, I don't think there's much more to it, to be honest. I think we'll pop that on there, but do I want to use, I think I'm going to mount some white card the same size as the rainbow panel, and I'm going to stick the rainbow panel onto that white card. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. So I might actually go as far as to stick this down now. So I'm going to do that now. And then I'll trim the white when it's all adhered. With these sort of things, when you're sticking them down, you're going to have lots of little sections which they're only small areas, but they need to be stuck down as well, otherwise they tend to flap around and get damaged. So don't forget when you're sticking something like this down, just to go into those areas and just give them a little bit of glue, just enough just to hold it down. It doesn't need lashings of glue, otherwise it'll spill out, won't it? And here. This would make a good shaker card as well, actually. If you was to stick this onto some acetate and then fill the words in, which we're going to be doing, it would make a quite sweet shaker card, actually. Right, so I'm going to pop that down onto my card panel. I'm going to butt it up to 2 of the edges so that we've just got the 2 exposed to trim off, and then we're not doing too much cutting them, because that's where things can get a little bit messy. So we don't want any of the white showing around those 2 edges. A little bit of spillage there from the glue, but I think that should suffice. So I'm just going to trim those edges off. Ooh. Ah, not bad. 1 out of 2 is not bad so far. So there we go. I've took part of the panel off there, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. Right, so there we go. Right, so this is what we now have, is something that looks like this. So we've got 2 cards for the price of 1 as such at the moment. So I'm going to come back to this one because this is a bit trickier. But with this one, we're just going to stick everything down. So we'll go in with the, just making sure that we glue right up to each small corner, just as we did before, because those are the bits that end up flapping around and get damaged. You will end up with some spillage from the glue, but it's better to have a little bit of spillage than a little bit of damage, right? And it does dry clear. It's still very visible nonetheless. Right, so we're just going to pop this one central onto our panel. There we go. And then while the glue is wet, where it has spilled out, I tend to just go in with one of these. I don't even know what this is called, but it's a plastic wand with the smallest amount of cotton wool at the end, and just go in and pick up those bits of glue that we don't want. As you're going round, you'll see some bits and pieces that haven't quite grabbed, so you can push them down as you go round doing that. No worries, Karen. Okay, so that is now going to go onto that card panel. Now, what you could do, actually, in theory, is, and I should do it, I think I might, because what we could do, if that is going over that panel, then if we were to cut that again out of there, by the time that goes down, we won't see that it's been cut out of there, and then we've got another word for another card. So actually I'm going to do that. Just make sure that it's central, so that by the time you put your card panel down, it's not seen. We don't want to screw things up before we've even finished. Right, so again, let's pop that through our machine, and then we almost get a kind of three for one. Right, so obviously we're not going to do 3 today, we're not going to need the 3 today, but if you're batch making with that in mind, that would come in handy. Otherwise, if you haven't already, you can create yourself a little box or a little folder or anything alike and pop it in there, and then it's ready for another card. In actual fact, if you keep all the little bits and pieces, yeah, perfect. There you go. So pop that aside, and then you can use that for another project further down the line. So what I mean is, we'll cover that up and then we'll stick it down. It's all about getting the most value for your money and using your time most effectively. I used to be a bugger for ending up with spare bits and pieces which were perfectly good for use, but I would save them and say, oh, I'll come back to those another time, and I never did. I still have a hoard of them, but I am getting far better at using things up. There we go. And it actually almost looks as though the blue, the word has been cut from the blue, and that the rainbow panel is coming through, doesn't it? Right, there we go. And then that will just go down onto that card blank there. Fluff. You don't need to put any glue on the blue part because that's set back a bit further than the white where it was stuck on. So it's only going to warp if you was to now glue it to the card. That bit would sink. The centre would sink in. And we don't want that. And so I prepared this card blank prior to coming on, but this is just another top fold A6. And there we go. So we're going to add another bit of a sentiment to that in a moment. So this one now, what we need to do is, the white serves as 2 purposes. It means that it's not the blue that we're going to see through there, but it also gives us a base to add the negatives, the scraps from the letters. So you need to go back to all your little negatives, and then some of them you won't need, so you just need to ascertain which ones you'll need. In fact, what I might use is, if I use that as a guide for what goes where, so that goes around there somewhere, and then let's get them out from there. I mean, that one's glaringly obvious, isn't it? We'll pop that one. I won't stick any of these down for now. And then that looks like it goes here. It's like doing a jigsaw puzzle. That one goes there. And then these look like they could be from the centre of some of the letters. Got 2 there, so I think that one looks like it goes there. And then we need part of the A. So I'm thinking, I'm in deep concentration here, so I am here. Right, that's moved, and so therefore that looks like it fits in there. it's coming together. And then what else have we got? So we've got a cavity there between the N and the K, which has got to be that one. It goes over a little bit, doesn't it? Goes around there somewhere. And then all I'm left with now, so we've got nothing down here, that's done. We are missing one here, look. Not too sure where that went. But we do have that. That's the bottom of the K. Oh goodness. They're alive. And then, yeah, we've got one missing, a piece missing. So I'm going to frantically hunt around my desk. And that is nowhere to be seen. However, make sure I haven't glue. Right, what I could do, the colours are not going to match perfectly, but we're not going to use the scraps, the waste from this one. So I'm going to, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to remove that and use that. I think that will pass. Might be, Karen. It might be. I haven't looked. No, we've got one which has been there for as long as I've had the dye, to be honest. But it's okay. It's no problem. I think I would have thrown those away anyway, so it's fine if I use the scraps. It was almost meant to be. Sometimes they stick on your plate as well, don't they? They get stuck on your plate, but it's fine. Right. Okay, so we've placed those. Now we've got to remember where we've put everything. I think actually I'll use a pickup tool for this. Just looking for my pickup tool. Oh, there we go. Okay. Right. And then it's just a case of going in. Oh, I've got the pickup tool and I didn't use it. I think I'll have to use it at some point. Just lining those up as best you can. That doesn't look like it actually goes there now. I've placed that wrong. That actually goes there, look. See, this is why you place them before you stick them, which I did, but then didn't check on where I'd placed them. Right, so if that's going there, then that's got to go. It's got to help form the S and the A, hasn't it? Right, let me put this one in first and then we can work around it. We've got something to work around then. I've got all these little paper splinters. Getting all my words muddled up today. Right. Yeah, lots of little paper splinters from where I did the die cutting. Loads of little red ones everywhere. Right, so we're going to stick that one there. That can do with coming down a bit. That'll do. It's left a mark, but I'll see if I can go over that with my glue eraser. I'm just going to pop this one down because otherwise it'll get knocked about in the process. Oh, that'll do. Right, let me just try and get rid of some of this. Yeah, we can get rid of the most of it. It's going to leave some marks behind, but oh no, that's taken the colour off, look. It's fine. We're not going to play anymore there. We can cover that up with a gem. Alright, so this one was now... This one was going here now. Oops. Right, that's that one. And then this one is, this separates the N and the K. I think that'll go about. We can move that one over a bit. That'll do. And then this one. Alright, this was the bottom of the K. Yeah, I didn't really use that pickup tool, and when I did, it created a mess. Right, so go back there. Yeah. That goes about there. That's all the top ones. Let's do this beast. That'll do. And then that was the penultimate one by the looks of things. We're now on our last one. And then that one went that way, didn't it? Right, so, yep, all stuck down. We have got a mess here, but it's fine. That's why the crafting world created gems, wasn't it? Right, so stick that down. Oh my goodness. Keep coming off the edge there. Stick that down onto our blue panel. Yep. And then again onto a UK A6 top fold as standard for me, although I am having to change that up a little bit because my cards don't go, the cards that I sell, they don't go into plastic. Once they're paired up, I use a removable sticker to hold the envelope with the card, and that is proving to be quite difficult with a top fold. It's much easier with a traditional side fold. I won't bore you with the logistics of that, but I'm having to make that switch, which I'm not very happy about, to be honest. Right, there we go. Right, so that's then pretty much done, apart from the fact that obviously it wouldn't be a Dani Doodles live without a Dani Doodles sentiment to boot. So we're going to use the thanks for putting up with my beep. We're going to chop the thanks off because we've got thanks. I just need to establish what colour I would like to do those in. So, do I have some offcuts? What have we got here? These are all white. Okay, so this one I think has to be in white. And then this one would have been nice to do in rainbow. Don't appear to have any rainbow because I trimmed them down prior. What colour, guys? What colour should I do this one? The sentiment and this one, the strip of card. Alright, let me start with the... I can just stamp this one onto black card, actually. So, let me get a piece... Just get a piece of card to stamp that sentiment on. I think for the sake of ease, on this occasion, we're just going to... See, I save all these and I have them in a pot because I always come back to use them. But they don't serve me well on this occasion. You know, actually, I think I'm going to do them both in blue. After all that, we'll do them both in blue. Right, so I've got some scrap blue there. We're going to prepare this for embossing with my anti-static. We're going to get some embossing powder. We'll go with white. There we go. Right, so let's get... Need to get a stamping block, which I tripped over the unit that it's stored in, so it ended up halfway across my craft room floor. Okay. So just any embossing ink. Not particularly fussy personally. Try and get that as straight as I can without putting my head in shot. I might actually do both of them. Might be a bit risque, but ooh, get me. Let's do that. I think I'll do both of them in one sitting. That'll do. Put the lid on that. We don't want powder on there, do we? Just looking for my embossing paper. I'm just going to get another one. Right, so these are a godsend. These are what I was talking about, Mum. These are the air fryer liners, but in theory they have got sides, not very deep sides though, and then you just pop them in your air fryer. But I think possibly, I don't know, actually it might be the right size for your one. I think they're too wide for mine. But for crafting, I just fold them down the centre, and then that creates a channel to pour the powder onto. And then it makes life so much easier for just popping it back into the pot. No mess. In theory, no mess. That doesn't justify why I tend to make an awful mess still decanting it back into the pot. Right, heat tool. It's going to take a moment to heat up. Oh, my hands are quite cold actually, so this is nice. I have no idea who's with me. I've actually overheated this one, but it's fine. So we'll trim the ends off. We don't want the thanks, so we'll trim the thanks off. Okay, perfect. I'm going to trim some of that top off, but this is a bit brave. There we go. So, going in with number 1. Just making sure that's straight. It's really hard. The smaller the card you work with. There we go. So we've got 1. Yeah, the smaller the card to work with, the more difficult it is to trim it. We'll go with that, and then I'll flip this around to trim the bottom off of that. And then going in. That'll do. And then I think for this, what I might do actually, I might use foam tape to stick these down and give them some dimension. So we'll pop all the scraps aside. Make sure you use, excuse me, make sure you're using non-stick scissors. I'm just going to actually trim that down through the middle, and then that can serve both. Trim that off there. And this one's actually a little bit on the wonk, but I'll straighten that out another time. That's the beauty of the tape as opposed to glue. It's not so permanent. So when I've got a bit more time. So that's what we've got. Trying to get the focus. No. Yeah, when I've got a bit more time, I'll replace these so that they're a bit neater. So we just need to find somewhere to pop this across. So that could actually, that could go there to cover up that sin. Although it doesn't quite read as accurately, it doesn't flow, does it? Thanks so much. So actually, I'm going to go with my original plan. And I'm going to cover that with a gem. And I'm actually going to put this one down here. Yep. And then with this one, I'll probably put midway, I think. There we go. So that's that one. And then that's its partner. Right. I do appreciate that that might have felt a little bit rushed, and I do apologise. I don't like to keep you any longer than the hour, but I have to persevere with technology, otherwise I'll throw it all in together, and I'm determined to not do that. So what I'll leave you with is, I'm just popping my cloth away, that's all that noise. The sentiment that I used was from the Narky Sentiments. So what I do now is, for every live that I do for Dani Doodles on the Monday evenings, the stamp that I feature in that live, there'll be a discount. At the moment it's 10%, but I'm thinking of switching that up. But there'll be a discount for 7 days until the next live. So currently this evening, this will go on at a discount. as a product of the week until the next week, and then that product will change. So if you want this set and you want a discount on it, I definitely, well, everyone wants a discount, don't they? So if you want this set, I'd recommend you get it now while there is a discount on there, before that one changes next time round. I never know which ones I'm going to be using, so it is likely that that will be used again, but we never know when. Nothing's certain in this life, is it? Right, so you know the website, www.danidoodles.co.uk. Otherwise, I'm going to love you and leave you. I will be back on Wednesday with another live. This one will be daytime, a permanent fixture going forward. Daytime, 1 PM, same place, but this will just be me crafting using no Dani Doodles products. It will be a selection, pardon me, it will be a selection of other people's brands. I do have something in mind for this week. So yeah, it will just be me using other brands, not Dani Doodles. That'll be same place, but 1 PM to suit everyone, workers, non-workers. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a wonderful evening, and hopefully I'll get to see you all again soon. Hopefully some of you on Wednesday. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Let me know if you found me again, anyone, please. Because I'm still having problems, so I don't know who's here. Right, I'm getting on with it.